back on Radio Row, and delighted to say that we are joined by a multiple-time Super Bowl champion. No, just one. Is it just one?
Just one.
Oh, I thought you were there for the...
Two appearances.
Two appearances, one win, one loss.
I'm sorry. I thought you were there for the one before that as well.
I wish I was,
now I feel like
too.
I should start again, but let's hang it a while to dry. I've made a huge mistake.
He's played 3 years of a 4-year contract.
Yes.
So going into a contract year.
Yes, I am.
Let's get serious from moment one. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, hopefully I get to continue playing football. You know, with this organization. It's a great organization. Don't wish to go anywhere else. It's one of those places that you get to understand what it takes to be a good football player.
Can I ask you one quick question before we get into the serious stuff? Because I know that Matthew Sherry has introduced himself and told you he's a massive Patriots fan, so we're basically going to let him go on this. We might go and grab a beer.
All right.
But before I do that, coming to Radio Row and getting to do these kind of interviews and doing something that's totally separate, is it a little bit freeing for you, knowing that you're not in a Patriots locker room and that you don't have to be making sure you say nothing at any point that will be construed in any way in the media as something that might get you into trouble with Bill?
You know, once you understand how to talk, you're good. The aspect of people doing interviews or talking on Media Row or talking for Media Day is people trying to pull certain questions out of you, certain answers out of you. You just answer truthfully, and that's the best thing to do. Just answer how you're supposed to answer it. That's from how you feel, and you only can speak about yourself and you can speak about your experiences. Once you start talking about everybody else's and what they're going through, and you don't know what they're going through. So once you understand that, interviews are simple. This is the fun part. You know, you get to enjoy yourself, build a relationship with people that's interviewing you, and understand how their day was. You know.
I've had a great day, Laurence, just so you know.
You told me about to grab a couple of beers or something.
You are with, I guess, one of the most consistent organisations, and not just in terms of success, but in terms of the fact that we've had 20 years of a constant. Right. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. How weird and different is this off-season? Because there is uncertainty around Tom and whether he's going to be back next year. And just, do you feel that uncertainty kind of going into next season in a way that's different to the previous couple of years?
So the main question is the 2016 team wasn't the 2017 team, wasn't the 2018 team. So that's how you have to look at it. Whatever that happens, it happens between them, but you can't look at, we're going to have this player here, this player is not going to be here. Every single team is different. Every year is different. You're never going to be in the same locker room. You might not have the same locker mate as your previous year. You can look at it right now. Look who's in the Super Bowl. At one point, he had a Patriots jersey on. Now he doesn't. It's just the way this business is and the game is. But all I can say is being a part of that dynasty is special because you see how much they enjoy the game. It's not all about how much money I'm getting. It's not all about, I need to set this, I need to do this. It's about the passion and the joy of the game and how they could truly embrace that with everybody on the team.
The script flipped a little bit for the team last year in terms of, I mean, you guys carried the team on defense, and even, you know, the playoff game you lost. Derrick Henry had a big day, but you essentially only gave up 13 points. And I wonder, what do you see in Tom, and do you still think he's at the level he was when you first walked into the building? And because, I mean, there are people who say there was a decline in skill set, other people blame the weapons around him, but ultimately the offensive production wasn't what it had been.
Well, I could say we lost as a team. It wasn't one eventual side like, the offense didn't do this, the defense. We lost as a team, and that's the best thing about this organization is to understand. We lost that playoff game. That was us. The team lost. It wasn't, they need to do this. We together lost that, and we can accept that. He's still playing a high-quality level. Still love the motor, still love the passion that he brings it in, and everybody does in the locker room. But every year ain't guaranteed. You have to understand how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl. It's very difficult. It's very taxing on the body. And once it comes to playoffs, it's anybody's game.
One thing that I don't think is talked about enough with last season is we see basically every year the team who loses the Super Bowl have a major hangover the next year. You look at the Rams. You guys went back won the game next time. I mean, what does that say about the whole culture there? Because it is, outside of, I think, you know, the Buffalo Bills who went to 4-0 and lost in the 90s, it is very rare for teams to, some teams don't even make the playoffs next year, but to get back, and especially after the nature of that defeat against Philadelphia.
Because you see a bunch of brothers go out there and a family go out there and compete. And we understand once you're in that locker room, we're competing for one thing, and that's for that week. Yeah. We can't live in the past, and that's what it's hard for certain players or certain things to happen. Everybody wants to live in the past. You're not the same player that you was the year before. Hopefully you're getting better. And what we do and how the state of mind is for me, myself, is, okay, I lost the Super Bowl. It wasn't like, oh, man, I went to the Super Bowl, we lost, man, this happened, I wish we could have done this better. It was like, how do we get back to the Super Bowl? Yeah. How do we do it? And that's competing every single week, every game, every playoff, and that's what we do. We compete, try to get better, try to continue to build our skill sets, and that's how you get back. If you could say, oh, well, we went, it was a good time, we're going to do this, or now I'm just willing to go to another team, or I'm trying to get all this money. It's so many different aspects of what's going on. As long as you're consistent of what is your goal? Well, my goal is to build that relationship with everybody in here, from OTA to training camp, to go out there and compete on Sunday. If we don't do that, we ain't going to get there. And that's the state of mind you always have to be in. Compete.
So talk to us about Bill Belichick. Because, I mean, this year, I guess, did you see a different side to him almost? Because it felt like he was a lot more involved in the day-to-day game planning of the defense. Obviously, his son and Gerard Mayo were involved in it as well, but it felt like he himself was a lot more hands-on. So, I mean, just what's it like to play for him, especially as a defensive player?
It's exciting to play with him, play for him. You can't take away the knowledge that you receive when you have somebody like that. It's all about numbers, plays, statistics. Hey, this is what happened. This is what might happen. This is what happened 10 years ago. Yeah. Hey, 15 years ago, this play happened. His memory is insane to the point when you're like, I don't know how you remember that, but I do. And it brings a certain joy to the game, and it brings a certain knowledge that if you choose to receive it, you can get better as a player. And that's what most people do. They get better because they understand what they're receiving, and they enjoy watching the film. Once you start to enjoy watching film, enjoy seeing what you need to see, and being able to be like, you know what, if you ask me a question, I'm going to be able to answer it and whatnot, then you're golden. And that's the best thing about it, is receiving that knowledge and accepting that knowledge.
And I watched the NFL 100 shows he did, breaking down the 100 greatest players. We see as kind of fans and media a totally different side to him on that screen.
Yes.
I guess you guys see a very different Bill Belichick to the one who stands on the podium and says we're on to Cincinnati.
No, that's him. That's him right there.
We're on to next week.
He'll smile. We're on the next week. We're on to the next play. We're on to the next practice, and that's the best thing. Practice is just like the game. You got to practice like you're going to play. You got to prepare for the game, and that's what going into practice. We're going to be better for the game. We're going to do what we got to do for the game, and it's this week, not next week or the week before. It's this week, and we continue to go. That's the best thing.
Firstly, you were going to play a round of golf this afternoon. How glad are you stayed? Because this is a fantastic interview with one of your favourite players from your favourite team. I want to ask about a guy who I think there's a very strong chance he wins Defensive Player of the Year come Saturday. How great is it for you getting pressure up front when you've got a guy like Stephon Gilmore behind you who you know is just going to lock guys down?
You know, that to know what he's doing, that's the best thing about it, is then once you see him play, you get the aspect of know what he's doing, and that's what you want. Like I said, we're a team unit, so everybody has to understand what's going on, and he's very consistent of what he does. So asking him to do whatever it takes for the team is the best thing about it, because he will do it. He understands his weaknesses, he understands his strengths, but he's going to always be where you ask him to be or do what he's going to do. And that's what you want in a player. Like I said, I hope he wins, you know. He deserves it a lot. He had an incredible season. What he brought to the team was incredible. and you can see him playing. You can see how he improves every game, and that's one thing people don't understand is he improves every single game.
I want to ask you about a sliding doors moment at the end of the season, or the regular season, week 17, and that moment when Ryan Fitzpatrick managed to score that touchdown, Mike Gesicki, and then it kind of changed the entire AFC pathway through the playoffs. How much was that made of in your locker room? Like, did Belichick make it like a really big thing, or I'm going around in circles here, but I want to know, was it a big moment in the locker room, and did you realize what had happened then? Because you ended up having not to.
Ollie, stop. Was it? How big was that moment made of in the locker room?
Yes, thank you.
After the loss?
Yeah.
Well, we made our bed. We got to sleep in it.
Yeah.
Bottom line, and that's the best thing about it. We understood. We lost the game as a team. We had to go sleep in that bed, and we had to play the next week, and we had to get ready to prepare for that game. We get what the role was ahead of us, and that's when you come in, you go home, try to get as much rest as you can, get your treatment in, and start studying. It was a short week for both teams, so being able to do that and then continue to go. Well, the next game wasn't fortunate for us, but understanding it happens.
He gave a fantastic answer. That's the main.
That was way better than the question.
Is there a slight frustration, you guys really, in terms of statistically and the way you played this year, had it gone better and been in this game, you could have been remembered as one of the greatest defenses of all time. Is that frustrating, because you were on that pathway in terms of statistically?
Being part of the team was exciting. That's the best part. Like I said, not every Super Bowl is guaranteed that you're going to make it. Only thing you're guaranteed is to play the game that you're playing. And like I said, our season got ended early, and I wish nothing but the luck for these two teams, because you're going to see a good battle on Sunday. Two good defenses, two good offenses about to go hand to hand, and it's going to be an exciting game. So I wish them nothing but the best.
Laurence, brilliant work. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck for next season, and enjoy your off season.
Appreciate it.